NFQL. We are back with a big matchup as the Indianapolis Colts come on the road, come into Orchard Park, New Era Field, for a big AFC matchup against our Buffalo Bills. As always, I'm Maniac from Trainwreck Sports. Tonight, joined in the booth by our Gratwick gaming producer, Chris Holbert, and a very special guest tonight, Scotty Cartwright. Scotty, how are you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
No problem. Scotty is a Hawkeye through and through. He bleeds that yellow and black or whatever they, do in Iowa.
Black and gold in Iowa.
Black and gold in Iowa. Okay. Didn't mean any disrespect there, obviously. And we want to get off to a strong start. And we want to get off to a strong start in more ways than one because we want to adopt Scotty into the Bills Mafia. He doesn't have any true NFL allegiance, I've heard. Is that rumor true, Scotty?
Well, I'm from Iowa. There is no real true allegiance to the state. I was kind of born and raised a Chicago Bears fan, but the last couple of years have really done enough to almost kick me off out of Chicago. So I'm a huge Hawkeye fan. I've been looking at the Bills. You got Micah Hyde. He's drafted AJ Epenesa, and I could possibly be persuaded to be in the Mafia, I think. I like what you guys got going on. You got a great quarterback, seems like a good guy, easy guy to root for. So anyone that can take down the Patriots is also, one I can root for. So I'm hoping you guys can pull it off this year.
We haven't tackled that mountain
yet. No doubt
yet.
about it. Star Wars is about taking down an evil empire. And again, I didn't mean to cut him out there. Shout out to Chris Holbert, also joining us in the booth today. Chris, how are we doing?
Doing all right, man. Looking forward to another W. First, we've got overall first place in the AFC right now.
First place overall in the AFC. Tons of accolades for these Bills. If you watched last night's action, Trey received Defensive Player of the Week with his 3 picks. Some bad news, obviously. Beasley going to miss extended time with that collarbone. He'll be out 5 to 7 weeks. But that just means more burn for our guy Schwartz, who's been lighting it up so far. Make sure to also stay tuned. Our first Gratwick game night is 1 week from tonight, next Saturday night, after the Bills-Jets game, right after it. And there you see Jacoby Brissett's stats on the season. Pretty solid. Obviously, you'd like some more touchdowns there. So, Scotty, obviously introducing yourself to the viewers, tell us a little bit more about yourself. How long have you been going to Hawkeyes games? When did you start becoming a fan of them?
Cool. Let's see. I'm born in Iowa, middle 80s, and pretty much born and raised a Hawkeye fan. So I've been following the Hawkeyes since Hayden Fry was the coach. Only had one other coach since him, and that's Kirk Ferentz, and he's been doing a great job last 20-plus years. And other than that, love sports. College sports are my thing, so Hawkeye football, Hawkeye basketball, and Hawkeye wrestling as well. So other than that, I'm a Cubs fan. I had been a Bears fan, and just been pretty disgusted with what the Bears have been doing in their front office the last few years. So it's really hard to root for a team that you don't like the owners.
So Scotty, let's.
Hey, I hear you on that point, no doubt about it. Hey, if you're ready to sign up for some more suffering, if you want to extend that seasonal sign up, then get with these Bills, because let me tell you, they're on the up and up, but you never know with Buffalo. It could always be heartbreaking. Speaking of breaking hearts, Ed Oliver broke right through the hearts of the offensive coordinator, breaking through the backfield for a loss there. It is 3rd and 17 on this first drive for Indianapolis.
Scotty,
they're going to dig it down. They're going nowhere. Another loss. They're back to 4th and 20. Folks, the Bills are going to be getting the ball right away. Comment who you think is going to score that first Bills touchdown. If you're right, you could win a $25 gift card to your favorite local restaurant, courtesy of Gratwick Gaming and Trainwreck Sports. All you have to do is comment who will score the first Bills touchdown of the game.
Scotty, I'm chomping at the bit to dive right in on AJ Epenesa. What's kind of
Absolutely.
give us the overall package, and then let's kind of get down into the intangibles and stuff like that. But you've been a lifelong Hawkeye fan. I'm guessing you've seen every game that Epenesa's played in at Iowa, right?
Last 3 years, I've definitely watched every game. You know anything about AJ Epenesa, you know that his father was Epenesa, played years ago for the Hawkeyes. So I remember watching him as a D lineman. We're well aware of AJ Epenesa when he was just a freshman in high school. He was actually the first 5-star recruit Iowa was able to get to commit to them probably in the last 10 or 15 years. Biggest recruit by far. So he had a lot of fanfare coming in, had a lot of huge expectations, and he pretty much hit every single one of them. I don't know if you have any specific questions on his play at all, but I can get into some of those details as well. But I think you guys are going to be really pleased with him as a player.
So what would you say is kind of his MO pass rush? Is he more of a power rusher, a speed rusher? Does he do it more with finesse, just brute strength? What style player is he?
You know, I want to call him a finesse player. You know, I know he's going to be playing some defensive end, and I don't want to necessarily call him a speed rusher, although he's got plenty of speed. But his bull rush is probably one of the best that you're going to see, probably the best in college football. He has very violent hands. So what he's going to try to do on the line, he's going to try to hit the guy right away and get him off balance, his hands to get right through him. So if you want to see some film, you can just go watch his last game that he played in college against Nebraska. And that's really kind of, you guys are going to get there. It's a guy that can defend, run, great pass rusher, especially on passing down. And he's hand.
Hey, I mean, I think I'd sign up for that right away. We got a big Bills defense that we're expecting AJ Epenesa to be a part of. Now, I didn't know that his dad's first name was Epenesa. Did you say, Scotty?
His name is Epenesa. Hayden Fry used to call him Tom Tom.
Epi Epenesa.
Epi. I can't believe that's an amazing trivia question. What is AJ Epenesa's dad's name?
There you go.
I mean, I'm excited about it. I can't wait to unleash it on some other Bills at training camp. Hopefully we have training camp this year. Obviously, things still up as in the air as ever. Shout out to everyone tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are rocking along with Scotty Cartwright, Iowa Hawkeye diehard, as we dive into Epenesa and what he could potentially bring to the Bills this year. This defense keeping the Colts pinned in their own end here, and they'll bring up a 3rd and short.
Hey, if any of the
I guess my question would be is that as Bills fans, we like to worry and we like to be neurotic about everything. Even when Oliver got off to kind of what some people would consider a slow start last year, people were kind of itching at the bit for him to get going. What's one thing you could see maybe where a new fan base might have a misconception about Epenesa, or maybe something you saw along Hawkeye fans who maybe didn't understand AJ's full game? Like, what could Bills fans be saying about Epenesa?
The thing about Epenesa is Hawkeye fans watching throughout the season were absolutely sure that he was a top 10 pick, thinking maybe he might slip to the end of the first round. What kind of surprised everyone, at least that's been watching him the last few years, was his combine. He had a really, really poor combine. So that might be something to be concerned about. Watching in the last 3 years, there's no concern of mine. He played in the same conference as Chase Young. He was first team right next to that guy. Last 8 games of the year, I don't know if you knew this or not, AJ Epenesa led the country in sacks. He ran over a 5-second and 40-yard dash, which through the history of draft picks, there's not a whole lot of Pro Bowlers that have done that. So, that's, I think, without a doubt, why he slid out of the first round was a slow 40-yard dash. Now with the COVID happening, going to get a chance to do an Iowa Pro Day. So I don't have a doubt that if he had done his Iowa Pro Day, that he'd have jumped back into the first round. So I think you guys got a steal.
If anyone out there
Yeah,
if anyone out there listening has any questions for Scotty or anything about AJ Epenesa, go ahead and put them in the chats, and we'll fire them at Scotty's direction.
We are chugging along here. Gratwick Gaming Sim brought to you by Gratwick Gaming. Madden, we are rocking along in this season. The Bills fighting for that top spot in the AFC. 3rd and 9 coming up here. They are going to need the 49-yard line to get it with Allen in the shotgun.
To Diggs, there he is. About time he showed up.
There he is. He wants to get those touches, Chris, and that's one way to do it, making big plays on 3rd down.
I heard things from Brian Dabble this week that they're going to spend a lot of the bye week coming up focused on getting the ball back into Diggs' hands.
That's exciting because I know Bills fans have been pinning WGR for this last year and a half. We need to get Diggs the ball more. People call him Coach Dabs. Hopefully Dable finding ways to get Diggs the ball more. And the Bills are across midfield. Make sure you're commenting who you think might score the first Bills touchdown. If you are correct, you could win a $25 gift card to your favorite local restaurant, courtesy of Gratwick Gaming and Trainwreck Sports. Quick hitter by Allen. Not much doing, but it'll help the completion percentage at least.
Nothing wrong with some stat padding in the first quarter.
So I got a question for some of you Bills fans. I'm just wondering, being a diehard fan, I can definitely tell that you guys are diehard. What's this business about jumping through tables? Where did that start from? I kind of like that.
You sure you can handle that, Scotty?
I mean, we're pretty rowdy in Iowa. We know how to have a good time.
I mean, anybody can jump through a table when they're drunk. Can you do it sober when it's like 5 degrees outside?
Well, that's what I'm wondering about. What's the story behind that?
Wrong answer. There's no reason to be outside when it's 5 degrees and be sober. You would already be drunk. It's a trick question, Scotty.
You got me.
I would say the tables, it kind of came out of the drought, honestly. I remember it peaking 2016 to 2017 when it started, in my opinion, and that's when I remember it. As the Bills go over the middle, they are going to go incomplete. They're going to bring up 4th down. It was kind of just like you were so nervous, and it was almost like the Bills were driving you insane to a point where the thing that made sense to do was basically just make a spectacle out of tailgating. It was kind of, I would almost say that it started out of the idea that fans took so much pride in tailgating because they were like, they couldn't control the on-field result.
The game became secondary.
Relegated to the idea, we are going to be the best tailgaters that we could be. Now, to some people, they think, to be honest, if you asked about 60 to 70% of the Bills Mafia overall, I would say they think that the table thing is relatively silly. And some people actually don't support it, but then there's that dire coalition. And when you're in a tailgate and someone is just getting ready to go through a table, I can't describe what a spectacle it is. Like, I'm telling you, there are naysayers all the time, and you'll see them in responses like, all these people are idiots, things like that. When it's happening in a parking lot and someone's, getting on the back of their truck getting ready to go through a table, not like, 15 feet off the ground, that's when people get hurt, or when they go off the top of vans, or they go off the top of elevated surfaces. There was that guy in Tennessee last year that, tried to do a running start and, jumped through. He had the worst one. I mean, there's no reason to go through an elevated surface on one, but if you just take a 2-foot, a 3-foot, 5-foot jump into a table and go through and everyone has fun, what's really wrong with it? It's all in good part.
This sounds like something I might have to witness. I've mostly based all of my football trips around good tailgating experiences, so I've always gone to the college route, but this sounds like Buffalo might not really know what they're doing when they tailgate here.
Scotty,
it often gets likened to a college atmosphere.
Scotty, there might be a reason for you to be in Buffalo in early September if people are allowed in the stadiums. So keep that in the back of your save-a-date.
I might just have to do that.
Did you
Josh Allen and Coke coming back out.
Did you watch the ketchup and mustard ceremony here at the beginning?
Oh, did I miss that?
Oh, our intro video is a world-renowned ketchup and mustard ceremony that takes place before every game at the Pinto Ron tailgate.
Wow, See, in Iowa, when I hear ketchup and mustard ceremony, I think that's the Iowa State football team playing a game. Those are their school colors, according to Iowa fans, are ketchup and mustard. So,
wow, that's
there's an actual legitimate
Scotty.
Anytime I can take a shot at the Cyclones, I have to.
That's fair. That's fair.
Wow, that sounds pretty legit.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a mob scene in there.
What? So as
you never know who you're gonna run into.
Who are you guys excited about this year? Some new additions to the Bills.
To be honest, this sim has gotten me excited for Dawson Knox. Obviously, I'm pumped for what Diggs brings, and pumped for what Brown brings, and pumped for what Beasley does. But Dawson Knox, he's getting some hype from John Brown a week ago, and in this sim, he's an unstoppable force.
I can't wait to see what Singletary does with a heavy workload. He was so underutilized last season. They've only scratched the surface of what he brings to the team.
Now on defense, how much are you expecting Epenesa to contribute? Did you was he a need pick or was he a value pick?
I think he was a value pick. I mean, I don't think it was an absolute need. I just think it was like what you said, that they judge on the peripherals, that, you know, he's a stud of a guy, could have been a second round player. Ooh, I thought that was, I don't know what happened on that reception. But he was a stud of a player, and yeah, I think that they like the idea of what they can get out of him right away. Obviously, Chris, one thing we've talked about with a lot of people is replacing Lorenzo Alexander. I don't think Epenesa is going to straight up replace him, but maybe, you know, that occasional pass rushing play, things like that.
Oh, yeah. The edge rusher was a big
years
move.
at Iowa, he was brought in on third down and longs, and he just dominated. Even when he didn't get a sack, he was always getting the pressure. So I think if you guys, you know, don't really need him to be a 3 or a 4 down here, that you can really get a lot out of him until he develops. He's been out of high school for 3 years, so I think he's still got a little bit of growth.
Brogan Kane is checking in. Said he met Pinto Ron at the tailgate in Dallas last Thanksgiving. Brogan, did you do any bowling ball shots while you were there? And then Stephen Noble says, my table days are over at age 51, and they do not brew enough beer for me to do it again. I will fall asleep, but hell yeah to the youth that goes for it.
It's pretty great.
It's always easy to cheer for it when you're not the jumper.
Comment who you think is going to be the Bills' first touchdown. It's not too late. It could win a $25 gift card courtesy of to a local restaurant, courtesy of Gratwick Gaming and Trainwreck Sports.
Just a bit outside.
What are the chances you can rerun the 2020 season again? And when you go past players who are on the team and could like change up who makes the team and rerun, interesting. That could be a point to do, Chris, along the line. 3rd and goal coming up at the 8-yard line here. Clock running. Shout out everyone. Get those comments in.
We're going to have to throw that into the brain trust.
DeForest Buckner with the sack. The clock will run out, and we will not have the first touchdown in the first quarter, folks. At the end of one, we have a very exciting game here for our friend Scott Cartwright from the Iowa Hawkeyes. It's Goose Eggs at New Era Field. Go get your beer. Go fill up that drink.
Zach, what would you say? So we've done what? This is the middle of the second season. How many times would you say we've seen the Bills score a touchdown in the first quarter of these games? What percentage?
Oh, like a third of the time, maybe.
Yeah, this is
rarely
tough starts.
Rarely. And T-Bass is up at the field goal, and it's good. That'll give the Bills a 3-0 lead. What do you think about that? Scotty playing some hard-nosed defense and then settling for 3 points.
This is Kirk Ferentz football.
Okay, I was gonna say this is your style, right?
Grind it out. Let the defense win the game for you.
All right, Scotty. So I want to know what does Scotty bring to the tailgate scene? Like, why does Bills Mafia need you at their tailgate?
Oh, I don't know how much Busch Light you guys drink in Buffalo, but I would be bringing a lot of Busch Light for one. So that's how we do it in Iowa City when Saturday mornings roll along. Otherwise, I mean, I was like, you guys got a good thing going on there. I just bring some good beer, a good playlist, and a great attitude. So
you don't have a special recipe or anything?
I'm the kind of fan that, without a doubt, I think my team is gonna win every time. So maybe you guys need that in Buffalo. I know. There were some seasons there where it seemed like just expected to lose. I know, Chris, you were too happy there for a while, but I mean, I think you guys need to start expecting to win now, and I can bring some attitude to the tailgate.
Scotty, you have to understand, there's a huge segment of Bills Mafia that is terrified of expecting to win. They're upset that the Bills have a bunch of primetime games. They once expectations get raised, then people can get let down. Everybody wants to remain that underdog with the real good team that sneaks up on everybody, because then there's no expectations, there's no getting their feelings hurt. It is something that has to happen where the expectation, they're raised. You're right.
You can't sneak under the radar all the way into the Super Bowl and then expect to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You have to win some primetime games along the way.
Yeah, they got to maintain that underdog mentality. Deion Dawkins actually did an interview 2 days ago where he talked about he still thinks they're the underdogs, and I think that's the best way for them to go forward. By the way, Scotty, we got to do you a favor. I mean, I love your mentality. I love the positive attitude you got about tailgating. But we got to turn in that Busch. We're gonna have you keep that Busch Light in Iowa. We're gonna have you get down on some Labatt Blue. We're gonna have you get down on some Labatt Blue. Good point by our chat. But yeah, we got to get you on the Labatt train.
Fair enough. I can drink some Labatt Blue.
Scotty, what's the?
I mean, come on. If Canadians are one thing, it's here. The Colts are inside the red zone, folks. Bills D needs to stiffen up. It's picked! Tremaine Edmonds with the interception, and just what they needed. Ben McDonbreak defense, Scotty.
There you go. Say Micah Hyde must have been in his ear.
Oh, Micah Hyde's been a beast the last couple games.
Oh yeah, I forgot about your allegiance to Micah Hyde. So you got two Iowa alums on this defense. This is a no-brainer for you, SC.
It's getting there. I know.
Scotty, what's
you could even wear like the Hyde jersey or the Epenesa jersey to the tailgates. I guarantee you'd be getting shout-outs for that.
I was gonna say, I'll if I ever show up to Buffalo for a game, I'm gonna have to be wearing an Epenesa jersey.
Allen going deep to the left.
You got it.
What?
See what happens when you throw the Diggs?
Completion to Stephon Diggs, and that's a field flipper, folks.
Scotty, what's the Iowa tailgate dish?
Thanks for not throwing him the ball. Just throw him the ball, Kirk.
Scotty, what's the Iowa tailgate dish? What are you bringing to our tailgate as far as a recipe?
Oh, man. Okay. A classic Iowa tailgate dish. Probably some smoked brisket.
Oh, boy.
Let's do that in Buffalo.
All right, you're in. Damn it. You hit the magic button. That's an automatic in.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get on that brisket.
I was gonna say, the thing is, I bring the beef with me though. Get that good Iowa beef.
Okay. Bill's having some success with this spread run game. Our guy Drew Gear would be very excited about that. Staying with the shotgun here on first down. They'll be at the 31-yard line. Still looking for that first touchdown, folks. Make sure you're commenting who you think will score the first touchdown. What could you win? If you're right, you could be entered to win a chance at a $25 gift card to a local restaurant of your choosing, courtesy of Gratwick Gaming.
Touchdown!
Josh, look over the middle. There it is. Oh, and who had him, folks? Beasley on the bench. Who had Schwartz? Touchdown, Buffalo.
Schwartz. Paul Burden. Paul Burton had the Schwartz with him.
That'd be slim odds on that, right?
Oh, this kid's going to be a star, Scotty. He's a third-round draft pick this season. Should have been a first-rounder. Dropped to him. Best player available. And he's got a chance to start stepping up here with an injury in front of him.
He's got a first-rounder in the second round and a first-rounder in the third round?
Oh, this was the 2021 class.
Oh, I'm behind a year. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Trevor Lawrence draft class.
Shout out to Paulie B. You are the winner of the $25 gift card courtesy of Graduate Gaming Trainwreck Sports. All you have to do is just DM Trainwreck Sports on Twitter or Instagram as the winner of the $25 gift card. Congratulations again, Paul Burton. Schwartz gets the touchdown for the Bills, and they have a double-digit lead, Scotty. It's all tulips and daisies in Bills land.
All right, we need to pick a sock winner here. Anybody have any interesting ideas on how we can pick a sock winner? It's a live brainstorm session. Scotty, any goofy Iowa tailgate games we can use to determine a winner here?
Goofy Iowa tailgate games. Oh man. I was gonna say most of them are drinking games. I don't know if anyone out there is drinking right now. Otherwise,
anything that translates to the chat experience.
Translates to the chat experience. I mean, I can think of some trivia questions, but that's about it.
All right,
all right. Let's do a Micah Hyde trivia question.
Micah Hyde trivia question. All right. There was
Take your time, no rush. We need a good question for these fans.
Yeah, I got a question. I got a question that can be answered. There was a bowl game. Micah Hyde returned interception for a touchdown. However, he did not intercept that pass. It was intercepted by another Hawkeye. Ended up being a pro. Flipped it to Micah Hyde. Who was the former Hawkeye pro? Flipped the ball to Micah Hyde. The Inside Bowl, I believe, in 2009.
Wow, that's a good one.
That's a hell of a question, and that's a hell of a play by the Colts to get right back in it. Looks like a 48, 50-yard touchdown.
That's the kind of question where.
But who's got the answer? Who is the future pro that played on Micah Hyde in the bowl alongside Micah Hyde in the bowl game, lateraled the ball to him, and Micah took it to the house, right?
That's it.
That's a question so good you're allowed to do research on it.
You can research it. Maybe you can keep dropping some hints, Scotty, as to who the player is, because obviously not everybody knows those Hawkeyes as well as you do.
Not everybody knows that. It's, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the player that did this won a Super Bowl with the New York Giants.
Oh, you didn't have to go all the way to the team. Could have gave us NFC or AFC.
It's okay. Sean Phillips says Tyler Sashel. Tyler Sash?
Tyler Sash is the winner.
Wow, Sean Phillips, not messing around.
Nice job, Mr. Phillips.
Send Coat
Sounds
Socks.
like you got some warm feet, Chris.
Send Coat Socks a message on Facebook, Sean Phillips.
Sean Phillips, congratulations. Direct message codes_socks on Instagram or Twitter. Code Socks, one word on Facebook to win. But yep, that's an awesome. That's a snipe, Tyler Sash. And yeah, you're right. That's a great trivia question because it's not something. I mean, even though you probably could look it up in like a news story or something, you can't look the stat up because they don't put who lateral to who on a pick six.
Yeah, that is
Hey, Scotty, I like your damn style. I'll tell you that much. Speaking of style, let's see who is gonna grind it out. We've got our Gratwick Gaming game night 1 week away. It'll take place next Saturday night, right after the Bills-Jets game. That's going to be an escape room, right, Chris?
It is going to be an escape room. Scotty, are you locking yourself in the escape room with us?
It sounds like a good time.
That's not a yes.
Yeah, let's do it. I'll commit. I don't need to know what I'm getting myself into.
Boom,
Yes.
locked in. Online escape room next Saturday.
Scotty, I would also like if you would bring that attitude towards being a Bills fan where you just don't worry about what you're getting yourself into. Because that'll only cause hesitation and unneeded grief. 3rd and 6 coming up for the Bills here, who are looking to get back momentum. You know, Chris, if Dan was here, he would be saying, these Bills, they allow that quick hitter to go like 40, 60 yards to the house. They did it again last drive. I mean, this defense has been solid except for those big plays.
Yeah, you just got to patch up those oopses. You don't want too many of those.
Stephen Noble says, I want a Trainer Sports t-shirt. Stephen Noble, if you go to our Twitter profile, in the bio, there is a link to our merchandise store. So anyone in the chat, if you're looking to score some Trainwreck Sports merch, go to our Twitter profile, our Instagram profile. Our store is right in the bio. We have tons of great items. We have our OK Boomer shirt with Chris Berman. We have our Trainwreck logo shirt. We have our Folks sweatshirt. Everything available in long sleeve and sweatshirt as well. And speaking of options, Bill's taking advantage of all the options on this offense, working this drive down the field, Chris.
Scotty, you're going to need some of this Trainwreck swag.
I was just thinking, I might become a Bills fan if I can get that OK Boomer shirt.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that's the best idea I've ever had.
I'd trade my fandom for that shirt. Sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he doesn't find out about it. I don't think he's too hard on the cease and desist, but, you know, we're all performing guys, and it's just an OK Boomer with him with the sunglasses. I mean, we're not going to be playing it casual here. It's golf Berman in our eyes. And there's Scotty's guy, Epenesa, coming up.
My guy.
Never stopped working. Scotty, how do you feel about the I formation?
Oh, man, I love a fullback. Let me tell you, there's nothing that a good fullback can't do for your team.
Duck and cover time for Josh.
Yep, duck and cover. Clifford Nickpon is saying Greg Maben. I think that's like a late guess to the Iowa question. We already got that right.
Yeah, that is a late guess, but not a bad one.
Ooh, good play by Schwartz.
It was Tyler Sack, but we appreciate the guess, Clifford.
Greg Maben is another Hawkeye pro that played with Micah Hyde, so that was a good guess.
Hey, people were zoning in. Bruce, it was Anthony Schwartz, the 2021 third-round pick of the Bills that got the first touchdown of this game. And like Chris said actually wrote for me in our pregame notes, he's getting a lot of burn now with Beasley out.
Just had a nice play right there, too, on the down before.
Allen quietly having himself a really nice game.
Oh, he's emerging into a beast.
That's what we're going to be hoping for him to do in this year 3, Scott. We just want him to quietly have very nice games. I'll take 250 yards a game if he's, keeping it above a 65% completion percentage.
He's almost above 200 at halftime here. He's shredding this Colts defense.
Got to get it to translate to the scoreboard here with this red zone possession. 3rd and 5.
The only man that can get away with the pirouette. That didn't look like
Jared Allen can do for you right there. Yeah.
We call that
senior year in college. Wyoming played Iowa, and I had Jared Allen as my #1 quarterback that year. Yeah. Iowa destroyed him, but he showed something. He hung in there. I mean, we were down by 21, I think, in the 3rd or 4th quarter. He was hanging in the pocket, taking some hits, just delivering some darts. So I've always liked him.
Yeah, I remember from the highlights. Wasn't there one play in the game where Josh was just basically like running for his life to the right and then just hurled like a 35-yard touchdown to the back of the end zone?
Yes, something exactly like that.
Yeah, it was an incredible play. It was one of those things where sometimes it happens in college football where there's literally only 1 or 2 other players on the entire other team that actually matches up. with the other team, and that was basically what it was.
Yes.
There was a similar fact. You wouldn't. I mean, Scotty, I don't know how much you follow like college football, but Khalil Mack played at University of Buffalo, and when he was here, there was a game where they played at Ohio State, and he had a pick six. So it was just ridiculous to like see it. It was crazy to see him match up well with Ohio State.
Yes.
Tyler Bass, meanwhile, the kicker out of Georgia State. It's up and good. It puts the Bills up 6 here late in the first half. And that's the thing, Scotty. I mean, obviously Allen's got a ton of yards, but we got to capitalize on offense for those points. As you see, we got the Kirk Ferentz effect going here.
Which, Jim, I tell you, at least you're always in the game in the fourth quarter. The problem is sometimes you're playing teams that are better than you, and sometimes you're playing teams that are a lot worse than you.
So obviously, you said you saw Epenesa. You've seen a lot of his action. What are some of like the favorite Iowa games you've gone to? Obviously, for those who don't know, Iowa football. I mean, maybe one of the more, I guess, to put it fairly, Scotty, under the radar top atmospheres in college football.
Absolutely. I think when you're going with just college experience, game day experience. University of Iowa City knows how to put it on. You know, it's of course the whole entire state goes there, so it's always an event. There's been quite a few games that I've gone to. Some of them that stand out to me are some of the ones that probably some years that we weren't expected. There's one year Illinois, probably about 10, 12 years ago. I can't think of exactly now, but Illinois won the Big Ten, and Iowa knocked him off that year. Was having kind of a bad year, and we ended up beating them 10-6, something like that. That's a game that I remember. Illinois was top 10, and we weren't. Kind of a classic Iowa Hawkeye game. One that I remember watching was when we beat Penn State 6-4.
You know,
Which, it was the only time in college football history that there's been a 6-4 score.
I was just about to mention, as a Penn State fan, I remember Iowa screwed up a few Penn State seasons.
Yeah, I've you know, all of the big games, you know, the Iowa knocking off the number 3 or the number 2, or they upset quite a few seasons in a row. I didn't make any of those. Because I picked that year were like the 4 overtime loss to Iowa State. You know, so I don't want to talk about too many of those. Lucky enough to go to the Rose Bowl a few years back, and by the time we sat down, we were down 21-0. So those are the games I remember a lot, but just not the ones I want to talk about.
That sounds like a Bills at San Diego game.
Oh man. By the time I sat down, I had already watched 3 Christian McCaffrey touchdowns as I'm trying to sit down. It was destroyed us that year. So
made it just in time for the coming out party.
Christian McCaffrey's a pretty solid player.
As a fan, you just got to be blind with optimism at that point, of course.
Yeah. We won the fourth quarter, so that was exciting.
Yep, got a lot of momentum going into the next year, no doubt. At halftime, you can see the Bills are kind of owning the whole scoreboard. They are up 13-7, though, only up 6 as we go around the halftime stats. Talking Iowa football, obviously, there are a ton of, I'm sure there are a ton of game day traditions that not everyone knows about, but one that a lot of people do is obviously the Iowa Wave, you know, to the Children's Hospital from Kinnick Stadium. I mean, that's really one of the cooler traditions in all of college football, to be honest.
I got my first chance last season to go experience the Wave firsthand, and let me tell you, it's really something. It's quite a cool scene. That Children's Hospital just booms right over the stadium, looking down. So, it's kind of cool to take a moment and realize that there's bigger things going on in the middle of a football game. And also, I think that's quite a home field advantage because Hawkeyes they're used to it now, but other teams when they turn and wave, they don't know what that feels like, and then takes them right out of football mode, and then second quarter comes around and we start kicking some butt. So one, it's a really cool thing. 2, I think it also gets in their head. It's quite a home field advantage.
No doubt about it. It has to throw you when the entire fan base and the entire crowd there is just kind of focusing on something else one way or the other. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it before. Google or YouTube Iowa Wave. It's one of the cooler things, not just in college football, but all around. We are rolling on to the third quarter. First play here. Josh Allen rolling left. He's got some room to run. He's going to wiggle. Is that a face mask or a holding? Looks like a face mask, and the Bills are going to be off to a strong start. They'll be over the 40-yard line to start off this first drive of the second half, Chris.
So, Scotty, why don't you tell us what you're looking for in both a fan base and a football team as far as your new allegiance?
Well, I was going to say, after experiencing the debacle that is the Chicago Bears, really what I'm looking for is some ownership, some leadership that I can trust, and that I feel like they care about their fans, and I like the direction that they're heading. So I guess how do you feel about the owners of the Buffalo Bills? I haven't done my due research on your owners. So how do you feel about the relationship between owners and fans in Buffalo?
I'll go first on this one, Zach, and let you come off of that. I'm gonna bypass the owner question. That's a bit in flux these last few months. Maybe Zach will touch on that more. But more importantly, the GM of this team is one of the best and brightest GMs in all of sports. Brandon Beane is just freaking amazing at what he's doing, and it starts right there for me. And whatever he's doing as far as the roster goes, I'm trusting. So you're in good hands as far as you're going to have a competitive roster.
No doubt, McBean is the strongest entity in all of Buffalo sports right now. Brandon Beane and Coach McDermott. Everyone believes in what they're doing. Trust the process. Everyone was happy about it just because they had started winning a couple of games in 2017, but then they make the playoffs. They make a couple of good moves that seem to be serving quick dividends. They have a lot of faith in the fan base. Now, ownership and everything, not that it's that fans don't have faith in the owners, but there has been a tumultuous couple of months due to the Sabres and the handling of a lot of things during the 50th anniversary season. So that's a big thing, Sky, is that the same owners who own the Bills own the Sabres.
I gotcha.
So when you're talking to like Buffalo sports fans, where it's the Bills and the Sabres are the two,
they can't separate the two.
Yeah, well, a lot of people can. To be fair, a lot of people can. But when you're having the conversation, you do always have to be like ready and educated about those issues as well. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean.
Touchdown!
Touchdown! There's that man, Knox. Good as gold, Fort Knox.
Oh, starting to open it up here.
Oh, this is a second half team, Scotty. All day long. They sleep through the first half and just keep ramping it up from there.
Looking ahead to the 2021 season in Buffalo, are you guys expecting any competition out of New England? How do you feel about being in the driver's seat?
I'll go first. Let's let Chris go first. The other one. In my mind, New England is like the Undertaker. They are gonna continue to get up until you tell them that they cannot get up anymore. So in my mind, you gotta go out this year and you gotta beat them twice.
Well, that makes sense because honestly, Hoodie reminds me an awful lot of Paul Bear.
Oh, very fair. I can imagine him with an urn just in the tunnel.
Just walking out there, holding it up, and yeah, then that fourth quarter comeback. So yeah, I could see how you'd be a little, skeptical until you actually see it's done.
If for me, if they had some sort of coherent plan at quarterback, I might be a little bit more concerned. But I just think it's the height of arrogance to think that they're just going to go on as business as usual with this Stidham guy, and then. I think it's more likely that they're secretly tanking for Lawrence than it is that they're a threat in the division this year. The one that I'm concerned most about is Miami. if they're young talent, is that Hyde again?
Going the other way. Is it that man out of Iowa? Micah Hyde, touchdown for Buffalo.
He was going to show up for me today.
That's his 9th interception in 4 games.
I was going to tell you, Chris, you told me that he's been tearing it up. You're telling me that he's got 9 interceptions the last few weeks?
Yeah. Oh, dude, I think that's only his second pick 6, but he had 5 in 1 game.
Say I might have to start wearing the red and blue. The red. Well, I don't mean to offend you. Offended me with the yellow and black earlier. What are the official Buffalo Bill colors?
Same as your American flag, my friend.
Red, white, and blue.
Absolutely, America's true team. Jason,
making sure you weren't calling it something dumb like Royal or something.
Jason Towell asked how many picks for Micah Hyde this season, and I think that was his 9th pick. They've all come in the last 4 games.
Yep, 9 picks in the last 14.3 quarters for Micah Hyde. So he is making it happen. And more is the one. I don't want to get emotional, but I feel like that was an emotional moment on the stream right there. Micah Hyde getting it done for Scotty while he watches.
And I started seeing a lot of flashbacks of some Hawkeye memories in that clip right there. So
that's got to be case closed.
It's getting there. And I tell you, 9 interceptions in 4 games, that has to be a record, right? I don't think anyone's ever done that in the history of the league.
Yeah, no, I would think that would have to be a record. Obviously, D'Angelo Hall had I think he had 4 picks in 1 game, or 5 picks even maybe in 1, but he didn't have like 4 the next 3 weeks.
Guess who else just showed up?
There he is.
Oh, is that
come on. The NFL gods are showing you, Scotty. The NFQL.
You're going to be seeing a lot of that as a Buffalo fan, let me tell you.
Yeah.
How many sacks did he have last year in the sim, Chris?
I think
like 14?
I think he ended up with 12, and it was 4th or 5th in the league.
My goodness, there's no way he's gonna have that many. I would go bonkers.
This is a put away drive. Oh, I guess 28-7. They already put this away. But this is a salt in the wound drive.
Yep. Folks, why not? Let's have a little fun. If the Bills score over a 50-yard touchdown, we'll give away another $25 gift card to your favorite local restaurant. So over a 50-yard touchdown for the Bills on this drive, or any drive in the 3rd quarter for that reason.
Whoa.
Bills offense, 50-plus
Oh,
touchdown.
here it is!
Oh,
Here it is!
Singletary! Get there!
Oh!
No! No! 69 yards after contact! He had the edge!
He doesn't have that breakaway speed. That was the book on him coming out of college.
My stomach hurts, Devin! Oh my gosh, folks. My heart just broke for all of you. But hey, again, like I said, we got the whole 3rd quarter. Maybe Zach Moss can get us that next one. Comment
Touchdown!
who you think is going to be scoring that touchdown for long one. And there it is. Stephon Diggs. Cue the shout song. Bills touchdown.
Kid's slippery, but he doesn't have the breakaway speed.
Oh, the route is on. Party going down in Buffalo tonight.
Sparked by the Iowa boys. What was this, 10-7 at half?
It's a 10-7 halftime game. It was real, or 13-7.
21 points in 6 minutes.
What? I'm thinking about drafting Buffalo defense for my fantasy league this year.
Oh, they're gonna be nasty.
Oh, that could be a very powerful pick. My goodness, what a drive by this Buffalo team. Is this the second game in a row, Chris, where they've come out at half and just put up like 3 to 4 scores real quick?
Yeah,
I think they did that yesterday too, didn't they?
Yeah, this team's starting to hit its stride here in the middle of the season.
Yeah, we weren't lying when we said they were a second half team, Scotty. Oh, too much dance for the Bills receiver. Or sorry, for the Colts receiver.
This is a 0-0 game at the end of the first quarter.
Yep, and now overbettors are 1 score touchdown away from cashing that ticket. Yeah, that's pretty sick, actually, Chris. This Bills team averages like 25 to 28 points per game on this stream, and like we said, 2/3 of the time they don't even score in the first quarter. So they're basically averaging like 30 to 35 points every game.
See, that's the hidden element that I think people are going to see that hang out with us over the next couple months that has me so excited about the real Bills. Is this team is right at the cusp of their ascension. For the next 4 or 5 years, it's just going to be it's going to be thrilling football watching all these guys peak and reach their true potential, and then seeing them all do it together. Like, there's so many parallels to the early 90s Bills when everybody came together and you just knew that they had the right guys on the roster and they all got along. They all fed off of each other, and you can just feel it and see it coming again. And it's really exciting to kind of be at the start of that cycle for the second time, seeing it the first time, because you don't really know what's happening the first time. You don't really have any appreciation for it. You're just caught up in the moment of the rush and the runs of the Super Bowls and all of that. But to now go through 20 years without any of that after growing up, like you guys grew up, Bills football sucked. When I grew up, Bills football was everything. They were the best, and that was just the way it was. We won. Everyone got used to it. So that 20 years of Siberia where like we sucked, it was demoralizing. But to see the sun rising again and to know we're at the beginning of that cycle is just, it feels so good.
Most definitely. Hey, couldn't have put it for myself, Scotty. You need a better ad than that?
It was pretty compelling. Just looking at your team, I'm like, man, Allen hopefully be there for another 10 years. Some studs on defense, nice young offense. Looking like a good team.
If that in the 28-point third quarter doesn't do it.
We got a third down here for the Bills. Quick hitter, and they're going to pick it up. Oh, fumble. Oh, does he recover his own fumble? No, he tried to pick it up, but he doesn't. Schwartz tried to pick it up without diving on it, and instead it'll be a turnover for the Colts. Little momentum shift. Still 20 minutes in this game. Colts will take over at the Bills' 35-yard line. But a real quick point I just wanted to say, yeah, we were lucky enough to go to training camp last year or whatever. And a lot of guys were saying, the quote I kept hearing around everyone in the team is, I really believe in Josh. And then, it feels like all just like team say or whatever, sports speak, however you want to refer to it. But it really did seem that way, that the Bills finally have a leader at the QB position and someone that the rest of the team can believe in versus, Fitzpatrick constantly just replacing whoever's starting. Trent Edwards, J.P. Lossman. That Siberia that you said, Chris, is long gone.
Yeah. Let's talk about the quarterback for a second here, because I consider myself a quarterback aficionado. There's been 2 great quarterback loves in my lifetime, and a third one has come along. The first one was Randall Cunningham. When I was 10, 11 years old, you couldn't not chase me down screaming, "I'm Randall Cunningham." Then Brett Favre came along, and that man, listen, anyone that knows me knows that, like, I went with Favre in the Favre-Packers divorce, and he will be the greatest leader, the greatest quarterback ever, not because necessarily the Super Bowl stats, all of that, because the way he played the game and the way he inspired his teammates to run through brick walls and go to hell and back for him. And Josh Allen, is that next quarterback in that next generation that even if he wasn't playing for my team, I would be following his career and just be an absolute fan of who he is as a football player. He is that Favre guy, that kid with the rocket arm, but that good old farm boy wholesome attitude that the team just loves to be around and wants to play for that much more. I don't care if he's a top 5 statistical quarterback in the league. Give me that guy every single day, and I will go against the Peyton Manning every single time. Peyton Manning can be number 1 and put up the stats and be the statistical anomaly every single time. Every single time he's going to lose to this guy. And I'm excited for him to be on my team for this third love affair of quarterbacks in my lifetime.
Well, Chris, while you just pled your love for Josh Allen, the Colts just turned a 4-score game into a 4-score game. The field goal is up and good. It's still 35-10. Bills lead by 25. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of fans, I think you have most fans are all in on Josh Allen. You see the stat line right there. My goodness, 75% completion, 263 TDs. Just a dream day from JA17 so far with not even the third quarter done. And then you have the analytics guys who are a little bit more hesitant, but still like happy with what he's doing. So everything is moving in the right direction as far as he's concerned. I mean, yeah, all about all the parts equaling the sum of the whole.
He's a winner, pure and simple.
Uh-oh, the pirouette. Incomplete. A lot of game left still, I guess. 3:04.
I think we're going to have to start looking at the schedule and figure out when this team might lose again. Diggs is getting some good play today.
Yeah, can we pull up the standings? Any possibility? I know you're juggling a lot of things over there.
We don't have access to the standings on screen, but I can read them.
All right, list them for us, though. It's a 25-point game. Bills are driving. We need to take a look at what's going on around the NFQL.
All right, in the AFC right now, the Bills are alone at the top of the AFC playoff race at 5-1. The Ravens, who they play next after their bye week, are 4-2. That's going to be Monday night. I haven't
mentioned that enough, by the way. We're entering the bye week on this awesome game.
Get the boys some rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know if you've mentioned that yet or not, Zach, but tomorrow is the bye week, so we're going to be off on the broadcast, and then we'll be back Monday night against the Ravens in a showdown for first place in the AFC.
I think what we're going to do for tomorrow, because obviously the fans still like to get a little taste, might try and put together a little Micah Hyde mixtape of this 4-game jaunt he's been on. And I know Scott will, obviously want to save that as well, so we'll send it over to his email.
I was going to say, better tag me in that. I definitely am interested in some Micah Hyde highlight videos.
You're going to have to get on the Twitter train if you want to get tagged and stuff.
I suppose you're right. That's the problem being from Iowa is I'm a few years behind on everything else.
Oh, come on. By the way, shout out to everyone watching on Twitter right now. Tony Manzella, Bill Schwab, PJC, and many more. We are rolling along. Schwartz can't get a monster game there, but we'll take it. We'll take the way the play and everything is developing here. Bill's in positive territory. Third quarter running down.
Zach,
up by 25.
Zach, when we look at the AFC East standings, the Bills have an absolute death grip on the division already. They're 5-1, easily going to 6-1 here. The next closest is the Dolphins at 2-4. The Jets are 1-4, and the Patriots are 1-5, and the Bills have beat them twice.
Oh man, someone needs to pinch me. I'm dreaming with this NFQL sim.
Josh Allen is second in the NFL in yards and touchdowns to Matt Ryan.
Wow, Matt Ryan's still going strong 2 years from now. He's getting old. He's getting up there. How old is he currently? I'm going to guess right now that he is 34 as of this moment.
I'm going to guess he's 31. Well, he's probably older than 31. Oh.
Touchdown, Buffalo.
Diggs going off.
Doubling up on that day.
Wow. Matt Ryan is currently 35.
No, he's 34. I got one more day. It says he's 34 years and 365 days old. His birthday is May 17th, so we're 4 hours early. Happy birthday, Matt Ryan! But
It's a good thing you got that leap year.
The good thing is a leap year. You're right.
Yeah. By the way, Matt Ryan's making like $30 million a year.
Right now, the Bills are third in the NFQL power rankings. Somehow they're third, and number one in the power rankings is the Buccaneers, who the Bills smoked like a game or two ago. And number two is the Seahawks, which I think... No, they played them last season.
Here's another numbers question for you as we head to the fourth quarter here real quick. Because we talk a lot about Allen, his contract, Edmonds, Trey White. How much is Matt Ryan's cap hit in 2021? The team does have a potential out in 2022, so that's when they can get rid of him to kind of, if they wanted to at that point. But they're basically locked in for 2021. What is his cap hit?
32.5.
Scott, you got a guess?
Oh man, this is the back end. This is the back end of that contract, right? It had to be back end loaded.
Yeah. So this is that would be the fourth of the 6 year of a 6 year deal. Or sorry, it's a 5-year deal, but it was a 5-year extension.
5-year deal, and it was the richest in the league when he signed it, right? I bet he's getting 35 this year.
Well, this coming year, which is 2020, his cap hit would be 19, and he's getting 19. His cap hit in 2021. Chris, you had it at 32.5. You have it at 35, Scotty?
Yeah.
40.9 in 2021.
Like, franchise quarterbacks are going to price themselves out of jobs.
Well, that's the thing. That's it's exactly what's going on with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys right now. We've had this conversation for weeks now. It is literally mathematically proven that if you have so much of your salary cap committed to quarterback, it's just almost impossible to win and be competitive in the NFL. And
the thing is, I would point to Dak Prescott as the meridian line for me. He's like, I'm sorry, if that's what's going to handicap my franchise, you're not the $35 million guy. Like, for you to be the $35 million guy, you got to be a horse. And I think Dak Prescott is good, but I think he's not good without a strong team around him, and even still, he may not be good enough in the moment.
I was going to say, you take away Ezekiel Elliott and a couple wide receivers, do you expect that team to make the playoffs? Probably not.
No, yeah.
If you're paying a quarterback $35 million a year, you expect that team to make the playoffs no matter who's on it.
Yeah, I think he's good because any NFL quarterback that's above average should be good in that position he's currently in. And I'm not paying every above average quarterback freaking $30+ million.
Especially one that hasn't won a playoff game.
He's kind of Tony Romo 2.0.
Kind of exactly what he is.
Kind of exactly that.
Which makes you got to ask, is either of them Tony Romo, or is it just the Cowboys?
I think we're giving Dak too much credit. I don't think he's going to be that great once he gets up in the box.
True. Throwing the end zone. Broken up, sorry.
If he's Tony 2.0, he might as well retire and get in the box already, because that's where Tony Romo's true calling is, I think.
That's where, according to his paycheck, it certainly is.
Hey, he's doing a good job for all of them. Touchdown, Colts. Hey, making people. I mean, those announcers work pretty hard too. I'll give them credit. They for how good the presentation is of the game and everything. No doubt. You see that with the Monday Night Football booth. They can't figure out what they're doing with that. Seriously though, right?
I don't understand why it's so hard. They haven't gotten that right since back in the day when they were trying to get Dennis Miller in the booth.
I just want to say I loved Dennis Miller in the booth, and I was a kid
just a guy in the booth just hanging around to make his joke whenever there's an opportunity.
Yeah.
That would basically be McAfee, which is what they've been talking about apparently.
Been talking about getting McAfee in there?
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard whispers of. I don't know, chat. Has anyone else heard that? I've heard that McAfee is in the talks. I know that Tess and Co are out, obviously. Tessitore was ridiculous. He kept trying to make every play too big. Did you guys see when they did the national championship for college football this year? They had the standard booth, and then they had McAfee and a crew of guys on the sideline.
I did not see that.
Oh, it was hysterical, dude, because there were like celebrities and stuff walking by, and McAfee was just like chirping all of them. It was hysterical. You can check out the best of probably on YouTube. It was honestly live. It was so funny.
Probably better than the live broadcast.
Oh, there's an argument to be made for sure. Like, and then the quarter ended, so they had to go from like one red zone to the other red zone, like a 70-yard walk through like one of the championship teams, and they're just like, oh, this is gonna be a haul, like just like hysterical stuff.
Zach, I don't know if you caught that, but it's 42-17, and the Bills have run 23 pass plays to 17, or 23 run plays to 17 pass plays. They're whooping their ass with more runs than passes. That's something I really like to see.
Yeah, no, this is a complete flip-flop from what Dave Bull's been trying to prove. Bow them to your needs with the run, and then take advantage with how you've worn them down with the pass.
And who have they taken advantage of with?
Diggs.
Exactly. It's about time they found him.
Seriously, they've been chirping. The WGR callers, the Weiner line is going to be awfully quiet this week. We have the local radio has a Weiner line, which is just you call in and you complain about something.
To an answering machine.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Just from the little I know about Buffalo fans, is that probably a popular line, huh?
You're not allowed to call it sober. Let's put it that way.
Definitely not. It takes your BAC before you're allowed to leave a message.
Yeah, and if it's high enough, it auto dials it for you.
Yep, you get a direct connect.
What have the recent whiners been whining about?
Primetime games. That's been the big whine. Everybody's upset now that primetime games disrupt their schedule. For years, everybody was upset that we weren't getting any primetime games. We weren't getting any respect when the team was terrible. Now they got too many primetime games.
I don't want to break a table on Thursday night and have to go to work in the morning on Friday.
It's basically what it comes down to.
Fair.
So, Scotty, how much longer are you gonna be hiding out in Iowa before you come back to California?
Wow, that's a great question. I was letting you stay in California to be my little guinea pig to see how things worked out for you. So, if you're still having broadcasts here in a month or so, I might show up live and do one with you.
Yeah, it's been pretty quiet. Other than the guy that tried to ram the train into the boat.
That's exciting. I'm surprised how far that train went. If anyone actually paid attention to that, that's out there. But
I'm surprised.
the train and tried to run it into the boat.
Speaking of that train, he was good. Oh my gosh, Samuel was about to be gone. One guy who could get him got him. You can't run a boat into a train, boys.
And you can't run a train into a boat either.
Well, you know what happens when you do that is you wind up with one of Trainwreck's top competitors that we've managed to silence because we've been dominating them. Shipwreck Sports.
I heard they're lost on an island.
Yeah, well, no, you know what their motto is? This ship never sinks.
It just runs aground?
Yeah, it just runs aground. Oh man, what a big play! I thought Samuel was going to the house there, boys. I'm sorry, you were having a great talk. That was why I had to get in there.
Well, I thought he was pulling out of that too. He's got to be on track for Rookie of the Year. We'll find out after the bye week, but he's just exploded after Drew dogged him all through week 1.
No doubt, big time dogging by Drew, and he's paying the price. Shout out to everyone still tuning in. Let's run Scotty through a little Iowa Hawkeye gauntlet.
What do you got for me?
I got a couple trivia questions here, easy to hard. Let's see how you do.
Ooh, all right.
All right, so this one, I mean, I'm assuming this is going to be easy.
Well,
First Hawkeye to win the Heisman Trophy.
They brought in the closer here, Zach Moss, doing the dirty work.
First Hawkeye to win the Heisman Trophy is also the only Heisman Trophy winner to have a college football stadium named after him, and that would be Niall Kinnick.
And I would assume, as far as World War II participation, he's probably one of the only ones to have a participation slip from there as well, I'd assume.
I think you're probably right. There were quite a few athletes that went over to World War II, but he skipped the pros to go fight in that war. So
could you imagine the look on those Nazis' face when they just saw a Heisman winner coming at them? I mean, sheesh, would really hate to be in that organization at that point. All right, we're rolling along. What senior player shined on the opening kickoff of the 2003 Orange Bowl in Miami?
But we're still going deep. Touchdown!
Whoa, Mom?
Wow.
Sticking it to Frank Reich.
Right, but I'll tell you, Iowa was playing USC opening kickoff. Went to C.J. Jones. See you later.
Correct. I'll let the song finish.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear the song on my end.
Oh,
yeah, we can't hear it. We can't hear it when the flag's on the screen. That's what we're playing.
Oh.
it's balanced low enough though that like.
Okay.
I mean to interrupt you guys' fight song there.
No, you're good. You're good. Okay. What? Okay, in the two.
That being the boys posing.
That's a tough one. Wow, these are some of these are tough. I don't want something too early. Okay, what team did Iowa defeat in the 1996 and 2001 Alamo Bowls?
Texas Tech.
Okay, I'll give you that one. Correct. Ding, ding, ding. Can you score the bonus points?
Are you giving it to me, or was I right?
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. Hold on. There's like a fire truck going
Oh, this
by.
is real. I thought you had a sound effect.
No, that would have been incredible. Honestly, I got to get my intern on that. But sorry. Any idea on the score on those games, Scotty?
If I'm not mistaken, one in 2001. One of them was a blowout. Like I think 1996 might have been like 31-0, something like that. The other one was like
27-0. 27-0.
I think in the 2001 game was like 18-15. It was a last-second field goal.
Oh my gosh, your consistency though is crazy. 19-16. So you're just off. So you knew exactly what happened. As close as you can get. I mean, that was amazing. Wow. So let's see. Wow. So Ferentz was offered NFL jobs in early 2000s, huh?
Yeah, he sure was.
That's incredible. He stayed at Iowa. No wonder they love him so much. I mean, besides the winning.
He seems
like he's a good guy too.
If you guys had the choice, which would you rather be? A big-time NFL coach or a big-time college coach?
Oh man, big-time college coach, without a doubt. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Now that the money's a little bit more balanced, I feel like college coach is definitely the answer. You get to get worshipped, and it seems like a lot less like.
You're just king of the empire.
Yep, big time.
They're gonna build a statue of Ferentz, and he just won a couple of Big Ten titles. Like Belichick, won 6 Super Bowls, and I don't think they're going to build a statue of him. Oh.
Seriously.
Yeah, but wouldn't it look exactly like the Emperor? I mean, can you really build that statue?
Okay.
Right.
So I don't remember this, but I assume this is well known in Iowa, so this will be good for our fans watching in. What Iowa quarterback was the runner-up for the Heisman Trophy in 2002?
I smell a Bills parallel here.
There was a Bills parallel to the other Iowa quarterback that was runner-up, but in 2002 was Brad Banks. Back in, I think, 85 or 86, it was Long, who was drafted by the Buffalo Bills, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. My goodness. Okay, let's see. All right, we're going to go back in the vault for this one. Chuck Long, Iowa Hawkeye quarterback in 1985, finished as the Heisman runner-up. Who was the Heisman winner in 1985?
You say this is kind of an easy one, but I might want to someone else chime in and see if they have any guesses on this one. It was the closest Heisman race in history, if anyone
was
aware
oh my gosh, I would hate to lose a close race to this guy.
Yeah, I know. Right? Lose a close race to this guy, you're still pretty darn fast.
Yeah, can't I just beat him one close race and then he can dominate me the rest of his life?
Right? So, yeah, no, I'll give it away. That was Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson, Tecmo Bowl All-Star.
Do you know who Brad Banks finished runner-up to? 2002?
2002. Thinking. Couch?
It been Carson Palmer.
Okay, Palmer out of USC. Damn.
And then there's one of those rare games where Iowa played USC in a bowl game, so the Heisman winner and the runner-up face each other. And yeah, we returned that opening kickoff, and then ended up getting beat like 35-7. So.
Oh, that's the worst when that happens. I always remember when it happened to. I think it was like Ohio State one of the years they were in there, but I can't remember. I'm losing my memory of the 2000s. What happened? So obviously everything else started fun. Let's see.
The hunt for mop-up points continues.
Seriously. Fourth and goal. Are we going to get a stop here? Hearts in the chat. Brissett looking. Throws over the middle. Touchdown.
Stat crusher.
Definitely a live bet crusher for sure. What?
Luckily, there was that pick six in there. Otherwise, starting Buffalo D this week.
Hey, yeah, they've vindicated that start for sure. Let's see. This one will be a good one. What's this guy? What tight end received the John Mackey Award in 2002 from Iowa?
This is a good one. It would be Dallas Clark.
Damn, Iowa was stacked in the early 2000s, huh? Like I wasn't super like football cognizant at that window for on a grand scale to where I know
that out there. Yeah, they also had Nate Kading on that team, who was the Rosa Award winner. Yeah, Brad Banks was runner-up. That was
Thank goodness.
That was a good team. Robert Gallery was on that team.
To be honest, I think it kind of has to do with the fact that like the national champion picture wasn't like as cemented as it was like after like the mid 2000s.
Don't get me started on that vote for a national championship crap.
It is a mess. But what's not a mess is Josh Allen taking the victory formation. He'll take a knee, and let's go, folks. The Bills win again. The Bills defeat the Colts here in the NFQL. A huge shout out to our guest, Scott Cartwright, and hopefully after seeing this 49, I'll call it a 49 salad since it's not a 50 burger. This 49 salad being dropped on the Indianapolis Colts, maybe he'll take a full-time transfer to Bills Mafia.
No, I'm definitely thinking about it, and I'll have to keep in touch with you guys, let you know where my fandom stands. But after watching this simulation, right now, I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. That was fun. If I can watch my Hawkeyes get some sacks and get some pick sixes,
Scotty,
maybe if you.
You know how you do your acceptance letter to the Bills Mafia, right?
I mean,
You got.
I would guess that it's an elbow drop through a table.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's easier than that.
You got to post it on Twitter and pledge your allegiance. Blood in, blood out.
There's a little while until the season starts, but if I had an OK Boomer shirt, that would look really nice if I was delivering an elbow drop. So.
Incredible, gentlemen. As you see, stats across the board. Singletary with a big day. Moss with a nice day, averaging 4.6 to carry. Allen getting it done through the air. See receiving. What's funny. Obviously, Diggs with a monster day. I mean, my goodness, 7 for 148. I mean, if you get 3 receivers on the Bills over 50 yards, that's a good formula for this offense. And Diggs basically tripled that himself. So, very nice performance by this Bills offense. Folks, don't forget, our first Gratwick game night will be next Saturday night, right after the Bills-Jets game. So pencil that in on your schedules. I mean, no one's going anywhere in quarantine, so we're taking advantage of NFQL giveaways. Join our Discord community, discord.me/Gratwick to get involved, folks. Shout out to everyone who tuned in on Bills Mafia. Again, a big shout out to Scott Cartwright for joining us again. Chris, any shout outs from you?
No, man. You crush it every time.
Oh my gosh, come on. Big shout outs to Bills Mafia. Thank you very much for tuning in. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. We are rocking. We are rolling again. Bye week tomorrow. Everyone enjoy the off day. Stay tuned for potentially a highlight tape of Micah Hyde and all of his picks. And again, one last shout out. Scott Cartwright, thank you very much for joining us, man.
Jason Towell shout out.
Me, guys. I didn't bore everyone out there with my Hawkeye talk, but you guys should be excited about your defense this year with a couple Hawkeyes on it.
I don't think there's anyone out there in Bills Mafia who is not excited about this season. That's why they're tuning into this NFQL. I mean, it's awesome action, and it's kind of like a head start on what's to come. Big shout out to everyone again. Make sure to follow everything Gratwick Gaming, Code Sox, Trainwreck Sports, and again, a huge shout out Chris Holbert and Andrea for taking care of things behind the scenes with Gratwick Gaming. You know, when Gratwick Gaming, Code Sox, Scott Cartwright, and Trainwreck Sports get together, this fun, this trivia, this knowledge, and this great action, and this train